There's something almost magical about the way a simple piece of wood can capture the soul of a creator. In a world racing toward the future, glowing screens, cold steel, and endless noise, there remains one timeless connection that grounds us back to what's real. The bond between human and wood. Every curve, every grain, every smooth surface holds a story, not just of nature, but of the hands that touched it. Before technology, before machines, we built our lives with wood. It was our first home, our first tool, our first art. And even now, centuries later, it still carries the warmth of our touch and the silence of our patience. Today we're going on a journey through time, through art, through emotion, to rediscover the soul of handmade wooden art. We'll listen to the whispers of ancient trees. We'll see how human hands turn raw timber into timeless beauty. And we'll feel the connection that still lives between the craftsman and the earth itself. Because handmade wooden art is not just decoration. It's a reflection of passion, of purpose, of life. So sit back, take a deep breath, and let's step into a world where the sound of carving tells stories older than words. Where every sculpture, every frame, every polished curve is a living reminder that nature and art are, and always have been, one. Welcome to the world of handmade wooden art, where creativity meets tradition, and every piece tells the story of the human soul carved in wood. It was the first material that humankind truly understood not as a resource, but as a companion. The early humans, barefoot and wide-eyed beneath the open sky, reached for branches not just to build, but to become. Wood was shelter, warmth, and survival, but more than that, it was a teacher. The tree showed us patience growing silently, ring upon ring, year upon year. And when it fell, we honored its gift by shaping it into something that would continue to live. The first tools, the first boats, the first homes, the first fires, all were born from this sacred relationship between man and tree. In the quiet corners of ancient villages, long before electricity and factories, wood carried the spirit of craftsmanship. A craftsman's workshop was not a place of noise, but of rhythm, the steady breath of carving, the scent of resin in the air, and the whisper of shavings curling off a chisel. Every culture, from the mountains of Japan to the deserts of Africa, found a story in the grain. The Egyptians carved their gods from cedar. The Vikings built ships that crossed oceans from oak. The Japanese turned simple bowls and temples into poems written in timber. Across continents and centuries, the human hand and the wood's heart moved in harmony. Where the hand ended, the grain began, and together they told stories of faith, of family, of endurance. To carve wood was to carve time itself. Each strike of the chisel held centuries of tradition, passed from master to apprentice, from father to child. And in every creation, whether it was a bowl, a sculpture, or a door, there lived a heartbeat of devotion. The craftsman didn't just make things. He released the soul hidden inside the wood, one careful cut at a time. Wood held memory. It remembered the wind that bent its branches, the rain that fed its roots, the sunlight that gave it strength. When shaped by human hands, those memories did not die, they transformed. They became something new, something eternal. Even today, when we touch a hand-carved sculpture or trace the curve of a wooden chair, we feel it, that ancient pulse. The connection between two living beings, one rooted in the earth, one walking upon it. Wood is alive, even after it's been shaped. It breathes, expands, contracts, whispers. It listens to our touch. And perhaps that's why, after all these centuries, it still calls to us. Because deep down, we remember. We remember that world without walls, we found a friend in the forest. And that friendship became art. This is the ancient bond between human and wood, a relationship built on respect, patience, and wonder. It is not a craft. It is a dialogue, a conversation carried through generations. When we shape wood, we are not creating something new. We are simply continuing an old story, one that began long before us, and will outlive us all. And so, as the last touch of sandpaper smooths the surface, as the chisel grows quiet, and the scent of wood lingers in the air, we come to the end of this story, but not the end of the journey. Every handmade wooden piece, every sculpture, frame, bowl, or carving, is more than just art. It is a dialogue between the human soul and the living spirit of nature. For centuries, this bond has never broken. It has passed quietly from the forests of our ancestors to the workshops of dreamers today. The same patience, the same reverence, the same heartbeat of creation. Wood remembers. It remembers every hand that shaped it, every dream that gave it form, every purpose it was carved to hold. And when you hold a piece of handmade wooden art, you don't just see beauty. You feel it. You feel time, touch, and meaning pressed into every curve. In this fast-moving world of plastic and pixels, wood reminds us of something sacred, that real art takes time, and real beauty lives in imperfection. So to every craftsman, artist, or dreamer watching this, never stop creating. Never stop listening to the stories hidden inside the grain. Because every time your hands meet the wood, you continue a story that began thousands of years ago and will continue long after we are gone. This is not just art. It's legacy. It's life carved in wood. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more people can rediscover the soul of handmade wooden art.